Watership Down is a 1978 British animated adventure drama film, written, produced and directed by Martin Rosen and based on the 1972 novel by Richard Adams. It was financed by a consortium of British financial institutions and was distributed by Cinema International Corporation in the United Kingdom. Released on the 19th of October, 1978, the film was an immediate success, and it became the sixth most popular film of 1979 at the UK box office. It features the voices of John Hurt, Richard Briers, Harry Andrews, Simon Cadell, Nigel Hawthorne and Roy Kinnear, among others, and was the last film work of Zero Mostel, as the voice of Caja the Gull. The musical score was by Angela Morley and Malcolm Williamson. Art Garfunkel's hit song Bright Eyes was written by songwriter Mike Batt. It has garnered a cult following. In Lapine language mythology, the world was created by the god Frith. All animals were grass eaters, living harmoniously. The rabbits multiplied, and their appetite led to a food shortage. Frith ordered the rabbit prince, El-ahrairah, to control his people, but was scoffed at. In retaliation, Frith gave special gifts to every animal, making some into predators to hunt the rabbits. Satisfied that El-ahrairah had learned his lesson, Frith gave rabbits the gifts of speed and cunning. In the present, in a warren near Sandalford, a rabbit seer named Fiver has an apocalyptic vision when he and his older brother Hazel come across a signboard. It says a residential development is coming, but they cannot read it. The two beg the chief rabbit to order an evacuation. The chief dismisses them, and orders Captain Holly, the head of the Warren's Osler police force, to stop those trying to leave. Fiver and Hazel manage to escape with 6 other rabbits named Bigwig, Blackberry, Pipkin, Dandelion, Silver, and Violet. They journey through the woods, avoiding several dangerous situations, until Violet, the group's only doe, is killed by a hawk. The others eventually meet a rabbit named Cowslip, who invites them to his warren, where a farmer leaves Cowslip's group ample vegetable. They are grateful, but Fiver leaves when he senses something unsettling in the atmosphere. Bigwig follows, berating Fiver for causing tension. When a snare catches Bigwig, Bigwig's friends manage to free him, and Fiver realizes that the farmer is protecting and feeding Cowslip's warren so that he can snare rabbits for his own meals. The group returns to its journey. The rabbits discover Nuthanger Farm, which contains a hutch of domesticated does. Before they can free the females, the farm cat and dog chase them away. Later, they are found by Captain Holly, who recounts the destruction of Sandalford by humans as well as an encounter with vicious rabbits called the Ephrathans. Fiver finally finds the hill he envisioned, Watership Down, where the group settles in with Hazel as their new chief. They soon befriend an injured black-headed seagull named Caja, who flies out in search of does. That night, the rabbits return to Nuthanger Farm to attempt to free the does, but Hazel's leg is shot, and the rest are forced to retreat. Fiver follows a vision of the mythical black rabbit to his injured brother. Caja returns and, while pecking out buckshot from Hazel's leg with his beak, reports of the many does at the overcrowded Ephrathah warren. Captain Holly describes it as a dangerous totalitarian state, but Hazel feels they must go there. Bigwig infiltrates the warren and is made an Osler officer by their cruel chief, General Woundwort. Bigwig recruits several potential escapees to his cause, including Blackavar and Hyzenthle. With Caja's help, the escapees use a boat to float down the river. That night, Caja leaves for his homeland, but promises to return in winter. Ephrathan trackers eventually find Watership Down. Woundwort rejects Hazel's offer of peace and demands that all deserters must be turned over or Watership Down will be wiped out. While the Watership rabbits barricade their warren, Fiver slips into a trance, in which he envisions a dog running loose in the woods. His mumblings give Hazel an idea. He chews through the Nuthanger Farm watchdog's leash, and Blackberry, Dandelion, and Hyzenthle bait the animal into following them to the warren. Meanwhile, when the Ephrathans break through the warren's defenses, Woundwort goes in alone. Blackavar attacks him but is easily killed. Bigwig ambushes Woundwort and they fight to a standstill. When the dog arrives and starts attacking the Ephrathans, Woundwort abandons Bigwig and fearlessly attacks the dog. However, no trace of Woundwort is ever found, which leaves his fate a mystery. Several years later, an elderly Hazel is visited by the Black Rabbit, who invites him to join his own Osler, assuring him of Watership Down's perpetual safety. Reassured, Hazel accepts and dies peacefully. His spirit follows the visitor through the woodland and trees towards the sun, which metamorphoses into Frith, and the afterlife, as Frith's parting advice to Elorera is heard once more. Controversy. Effects on children and BBFC classification. Watership Down has developed a reputation as a distressing children's text, with Ed Power of The Independent describing the film in a 40th anniversary retrospective as a classic but which arguably traumatized an entire generation. In 2016, the British broadcaster Channel 5 faced criticism after broadcasting the film in a pre-Watershed slot on Easter Sunday, which was seen to be in poor taste due to the film's representations of violence inflicted upon rabbits, and with many people on social media expressing concern about child viewers being distressed, though it is unclear whether any children were actually negatively affected. Despite the criticism, Channel 5 broadcast Watership Down on Easter Sunday again the following year. Despite the film's reputation as traumatizing, regulators and critics in 1978 expressed little concern about the film's potentially negative effects on children. When the film was first submitted to the British Board of Film Censors, the BBFC passed the film with a U certificate, suitable for all ages, deciding that animation removes the realistic gory horror in the occasional scenes of violence and bloodshed, and we felt that, while the film may move children emotionally during the film's duration, it could not seriously trouble them once the spell of the story is broken, and that a U certificate was therefore quite appropriate. This choice has been quite controversial though, and in 2012, the BBFC acknowledged that it had received complaints about the suitability of Watership Down at U almost every year since its classification. In 2022, the BBFC reclassified the film with a PG rating for mild violence, threat, brief bloody images, language. Like the BBFC, film critics in 1978 characterized Watership Down as suitable for children in spite of its potentially distressing aspects. The Spectator's Ted Whitehead described it as a straightforward children's adventure story. Scott in the Globe and Mail wrote that parents are more apt to feel squeamish about this than their children. There is nothing as devastating as the death of Bambi's mother. In Watership Down, some of the rabbits are unlucky and some live to old age. When they do die, the deaths are treated with sympathy but not morbidity. The message is that life is hard and difficult, but that it's fun and rewarding, too. Malcolm in The Guardian dismissed concerns about the film's suitability for children by stating that it is not true, as had already been hinted at by some, that the film is too violent and disturbing for children. What, pray, about some of Grimm's fairy tales? Fox in Films and Filming was one of the few critics to express caution by saying that, because of the graphic horror, one could scarcely recommend the film to the very young. More recently, film critics and scholars have defended Watership Down's potential value for child audiences. Children's media scholar Catherine Lester argues that the violence is never without a specific narrative or moral purpose and that discussions of the film's effect upon children require greater nuance that acknowledges the complexity and variety of children as viewers and how they respond to films. Gerard Jones, in his essay on the film for the Criterion Collection, admits that the film has troubled me ever since I first saw it at the age of 21. But that he believes it is an important film for viewers of all ages because it asks us to spend time with those elements of existence that we will always find most troubling, and haunting and moving, and that we so rarely allow our children's culture or our own entertainment to dwell on. He cites as an example the non-violent death of Hazel from old age at the end of the film, which he calls as joyous as it is poignant.